Ah, Russia. Land of tsars, borscht, and the world's most interesting dashcam footage. A place where history and mystery intertwine, creating a tapestry as rich and complex as its culture. It's a country that's always kept the world guessing. From the icy tundras of Siberia to the bustling streets of Moscow, Russia is a land of contrasts and contradictions. Will they invade a neighbor, rig an election, or perhaps flex their military might in a grand parade? Develop a taste for reality TV? Okay, maybe not that last one. But who knows? In a country where the unexpected is the norm, anything seems possible. Lately, though, things are getting tense even by Russian standards. Protests are becoming more frequent, and the air is thick with uncertainty. Imagine a bear waking up from hibernation to find its den has been redecorated with IKEA furniture. It's bewildering, to say the least. That's Russia right now, grumpy, disoriented, and wondering if it's time for a change. The old ways are being questioned, and the new ways are not yet clear. Is a full-blown civil war brewing? The streets are filled with voices demanding change, and the tension is palpable. Let's just say the potential for chaos is higher than a cosmonaut on a vodka bender. The stakes are high, and the world is watching closely. But before we dive into the potential for a Russian Revolution sequel, let's unpack the factors making everyone so nervous. What are the underlying issues driving this unrest? It's like a Tolstoy novel, only with more oligarchs and fewer horse-drawn carriages. The plot is thickening, and the next chapter is anyone's guess. Remember Yevgeny Prigozhin? Chef-turned-warlord extraordinaire. He's the man who went from serving meals to serving military orders. He led a little group called the Wagner Group, a private army that's more infamous than famous. Think of them as Russia's version of a private military contractor, only with worse table manners and a penchant for chaos. Well, Prigozhin got a little too big for his britches. His ambitions grew, and so did his audacity. He decided to march his mercenaries towards Moscow in a hissy fit that surprised everyone, including, probably, Prigozhin himself. It was a bold move, but not a smart one. It was like watching your grumpy uncle storm out of Thanksgiving dinner, except with tanks and a lot more at stake. The whole thing fizzled out quicker than a bad bottle of Soviet champagne. The grand spectacle turned into a damp squib, but the damage was done. The cracks in the facade were now visible for all to see. It showed that even Putin's inner circle wasn't as united as a synchronized swimming team. The illusion of unity was shattered. The mutiny was a crack in the Kremlin's facade, a sign of deeper issues within the power structure. And like a bad case of Russian winter, those cracks have a way of spreading. The chill of dissent is hard to contain once it sets in. Let's be honest, sanctions on Russia haven't been a walk in the park. They're more like a forced march through Siberia in winter, unpleasant, long, and likely to involve frostbite. Remember when Russians could afford luxury cars and vacations in the south of France? Now they're stockpiling buckwheat and hoping the washing machine doesn't break. Imagine trying to buy a new Lada with a pocket full of rubles that are depreciating faster than a politician's promise. That's the reality for many Russians. And when people get hungry, they tend to get restless. It's a tale as old as time, or at least as old as the breadlines of the Soviet era. Speaking of history repeating itself, let's take a stroll down memory lane, shall we? Remember 1917? The Tsar wasn't exactly handing out free bread in circuses then either. And look how that turned out for him. Spoiler alert, not great, Bob. Economic hardship has a nasty habit of making people do unpredictable things. It's like playing Russian roulette with a history textbook. You never know when things are going to get messy. Of course, history doesn't repeat itself verbatim. There's no guarantee that Russia will erupt in a Bolshevik-style revolution, but it's a reminder that even the mightiest empires can crumble faster than a stale pierogi. Section 5. Russia's regional variety show, more ethnicities than a Moscow subway car. Russia is a vast and diverse country, home to a multitude of ethnic groups, each with its own unique identity and cultural heritage. Russia's like that giant nesting doll. Open it up, and you'll find a whole lot of smaller dolls inside. Each layer reveals a different ethnicity, a different story, and a different way of life. It's a fascinating mosaic of cultures. Except instead of dolls, it's ethnic groups, each with its own language, culture, and tolerance, or lack thereof, for Moscow's meddling. From the Chechens in the south, to the Tatars in the Volga region, and the Buryats in Siberia, the diversity is staggering. For years, Putin's been holding this hodgepodge of ethnicities together with a mix of nationalism and good old-fashioned authoritarianism. His strategy has been to promote a strong Russian identity while suppressing regional dissent. But with the economy in the dumps and the military looking less than invincible, those regional tensions are starting to simmer. Economic hardship and military setbacks are fueling discontent among the various ethnic groups. Imagine a reality TV show where Chechens, Tatars, and Buryats all compete for resources and independence. Each group brings its own unique challenges and aspirations to the table, making for a complex and unpredictable dynamic. Sure, it'd be a logistical nightmare, but the drama would be off the charts. The stakes are high, and the outcome is uncertain, reflecting the real-life struggles and ambitions of Russia's diverse ethnic landscape. Section 6. The Tsar is gone. Now what? Power vacuum. Bingo! Let's play a little game, shall we? Let's call it Power Vacuum Bingo. The rules are simple. Imagine Putin's gone. Vanished. Poof. Who takes over? A hardline general? A slick oligarch? A charismatic YouTube influencer with a penchant for conspiracy theories? The possibilities are as endless as a Siberian winter. One thing's for sure. A power vacuum in Russia would be about as stable as a unicycle on a tightrope. Expect chaos, infighting, and enough intrigue to make a John le Carré novel look like a children's book. Section 7. Civil war or just a lover's quarrel? Predicting Russia's future. So, is Russia on the brink of all-out civil war? It's complicated. Predicting the future of Russia is like trying to read tea leaves at the bottom of a vodka bottle, murky at best. On the one hand, you've got all the ingredients for a major meltdown, economic misery, political instability, and enough simmering resentment to boil a samovar. On the other hand, Russians are known for their patience. They've survived czars, famines, and economic collapses before. Maybe they'll muddle through this too. Maybe they'll tighten their belts, grumble about the government, and dream of a brighter future. Or maybe, just maybe, they'll surprise us all. Section 8. Conclusion. Stay tuned for the next episode of As the Kremlin Turns. One thing's for certain, Russia is at a crossroads. Which path it chooses remains to be seen. Will it be a descent into chaos or a bumpy but ultimately peaceful transition? Tune in next time for another exciting episode of As the Kremlin Turns, where the drama is always high, the stakes are even higher, and the vodka flows freely. Except when it doesn't, because, sanctions.